Next on the Broadway show, It's a Wonderful World. Tony winner James Monroe Iglehart is here to talk about playing Louis Armstrong in a pre-Broadway tryout.
It's a whole new world. I'm Perry Sook backstage talking to the team that keeps Aladdin's lights shining bright.
And hello, gorgeous. Funny Girl now on tour across North America. We'll meet the stars. I'm Tamsen Fadal, and this is the Broadway show. It's the Broadway show, and we're back with another good one. I'm Tamsen Fadal. The search for the Holy Grail continues on Broadway this fall. It's the revival of Spamalot, and Tony winner James Monroe Iglehart will play King Arthur. But first, he's got another big musical project going on. We had a chance to talk. Okay, so you have a lot going on, by the way, because it's not just King Arthur that you have going on. What are we here? What are we doing here today, day two?
We're also, I get to play another king. He used to be the king of jazz, and the legendary icon, Mr. Louis Armstrong. And so I get to play Louis in A Wonderful World, The Life and Loves of Louis Armstrong, the new musical, which I'm very excited about.
It's going to first be in New Orleans, then
Yes.
Chicago, right?
It's going to New Orleans first for a week, and then we're going to Chicago at the Cadillac Palace Theater. We'll be there from, I think, between October 12th to the 29th, and we'll be in New Orleans. We'll be there from October 1st to the 8th.
Talk about a king, you're right, Louis Armstrong. Talk about that and just the music and all parts of the story.
I think it's not just the music. I think what's funny is that when we look at certain entertainers, it's easy to look at them and just go, oh my God, I know that song. I know Hello Dolly. I know What a Wonderful World. But when I looked into his history and what he did, he was the first jazz musician and one of the first black people on the front of Time magazine. He was considered like one of the first pop stars of America. Not just, pop, but a music of America. I always say there's trumpet players before Louis and trumpet players after Louis. Louis changed the way brothers were playing and jazz musicians were playing music. And he also was so quick on it, but because he was such a great entertainer, people kind of forget about his musical virtuosity and how amazing he was. I mean, there's, to this day, I heard another legend, Wynton Marsalis say, there are trumpet players who are still trying to play the solos that Louis created on his older hits. He was that good. And I think it's fun that his story finally gets to be told, because he is one of those performers that performers like myself and a lot of other African American performers, we stand on the shoulders of this man to be able to do what we do.
When you play somebody like that, where do you go? Where do you go to start going back in history and back in time to the stories that really, when you step out there on stage, you become that person?
The great part about Louis Armstrong is, like, unlike other entertainers, Louis didn't want anybody else to tell his story. So he wrote his own story. He wrote 3 books.
Right.
He also had a tape recorder, and he had a typewriter, and he was an avid writer. Every show, every day, he would write. He would write to friends, and he had people keep those letters. And he has tapes and tapes, like thousands upon thousands of tapes that he recorded about what happened that night, about what happened that day, who he met, who he was talking to. So you hear his story in his own words. So basically I went to him to see how he wanted to be remembered and portrayed.
And so what did he say?
He basically said that I want to tell my own story and let people know that I wasn't perfect, but let them know it was about the music and I wanted to entertain people and that I was just a good guy.
What surprised you, or what is surprising you the most about his story or about him or his voice or the music? I don't know.
I think what surprised me the most is how I never knew until I started doing the show that he got blacklisted because he was one of the only jazz musicians that spoke out about what was happening in Little Rock. Yeah, he spoke out publicly against the president. And boom, blacklisted. It was one of those moments, and this is gonna sound real funny, it was one of those moments where like I think it was a couple years ago where everybody realized that Beyonce was black. Yeah, it was one of those moments. Everybody all of a sudden realized Louis Armstrong was black for a second. They had forgotten, and he spoke out, and they were like, "Wait, hold up, is he black? Wait a minute, is Louis black? Oh no, we didn't know that. Did you know we had Louis black in the house?" And once they figured that out, for a while he was blacklisted. But of course, a brother that talented, he stepped back into the spotlight and took over and did exactly what he was supposed to do with the hit "Hello Dolly," and the rest is history.
Yeah, and the rest is history.
Oh, yeah.
All right, how are you doing both? I have to just I just need I have to ask a logistics question.
Sure, I totally can tell you. I still just have an ounce of Disney magic. So.
Okay, that's good. Touche.
Thank you.
Touche. It's always so good to see you.
Thank you very much.
Tony Award winner Leslie Odom Jr. is back on Broadway this fall season in Pearly Victorious. It's the first ever revival of the play from the legendary Ossie Davis. He not only wrote the play, but starred in it alongside his wife, Ruby Dee. Let's send it out to Beth Stevens.
So let's talk about what it means to you to have Pearly Victorious come back to Broadway.
To see it come back in the ways in which Dad intended, I think means everything.
The play has a very historical significance. It takes a very difficult time in our country, Jim Crow South, and it turns it on the heel. It pokes fun at it, using farce, satire, humor as a tool against oppression, and creating a vehicle, an artistic vehicle of resistance to that oppression.
Dad wanted us and the audience to look at a very serious situation in the world, but be able to still laugh and still be able to be human.
He was obviously an artist and an actor, an activist, and a writer. What did he see himself at his core? Because I feel like writing was so close to his heart.
A writer.
Yeah, he was a writer, 100%. He did all that other stuff because he did all that other stuff. He did it well, but he was a writer.
So what can you tell me about his writing process?
You tell us to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning as we were growing up. When I was a little girl, it was late at night. But when we were growing up at 3 o'clock in the morning and start his day writing, before any of the rest of us even thought about getting up, we would come and find Dad sitting at the dining table writing.
And I would come home 5 o'clock in the morning from carousing or whatever men do at 5 o'clock in the morning. And Dad would say to me, good night. I'd say to him, good morning. And then one day I asked him, Dad, what is it you're writing at 5 o'clock every morning? And it wasn't so much about what he was writing, but he said that talent is a mighty fine thing as a writer. But if you want to be a craftsman, you have to do it whether you feel like it or not.
Yes.
And so we learned about his process and about what it takes to be an artiste.
It's a comedy. There's a lot to laugh at, but there are uncomfortable conversations underneath this. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. Mr. Davis said that he sat down to write a piece about his childhood, and he realized it was too painful to ask an audience to sit through. And so really it's an act of generosity. He wanted to honor the truth of that experience and the truth of the people that raised him and the truth about what it meant to grow up in the segregated South. But he didn't want it to be too hard for you to sit through and I to sit through. So he made it a romp. But yes, we do earn a moment or two where we give voice to that pain, we give voice to some of that pain, and the more fun we have, the more satisfying those moments are.
For tickets and more, head over to Broadway.com. Great Scott! Back to the Future is now on Broadway, and Casey Likes plays Marty McFly. And he's doing a vlog for us over at Broadway.com. It's called The McFly Files.
Hey y'all, my name is Casey Likes, and you probably don't know me, but that's okay. My mom knows me, but the point is that I am here today, and I am Marty McFly on Broadway, so you probably know who that is. So we're doing Back to the Future the musical on Broadway, and I'm the first person to do it. Let the record state that I started filming us on September 7th, 2023. And we have a lot of really amazing things to show you. This is, we're bringing this vlog back. Let history state that this vlog was gone for a while, and now it's back. And I'm doing it. I need a shave. Okay, so now that I'm in the middle of that, I thought it was important to establish our characters, introduce you to the cast of people you're gonna be living with for the next 8 weeks of this vlog. So just so you know, they just did a put-in today. If you don't know what a put-in is, it actually is when they put in understudies for the roles, the principal roles. So they did that today, so they might be a little bit tired. Also, they're a wacky bunch, so you'll get to know them. You'll see what I mean. But we also have an understudy going on tonight. You're hopping onto a moving train here, guys. Anna,
Hi.
You just were Jennifer yesterday.
No.
How was it?
It was insane. A lot was happening. So yesterday we did our put-in, and I was like, Fierce, I'll just get a chance to do a little rehearsal moment.
So put-in is literally like when all the understudies get to play their characters, but without the audience. Also, Jennifer is my girlfriend. Okay, continue, sorry.
Right, so low stakes, I was like, Fierce, a little rehearsal, go to this number, blah, blah, blah. Then after the put-in, our stage manager knocks on the door and is like, so you're gonna do that again? And I was like, what do you mean by that? And she was like, for an audience for Broadway, you're gonna sing solo on Broadway. So that's crazy! And then I got home and cried last night.
And she killed it. Cried in a good way.
In a good way, and like a very grateful, like, wow, I 5 months ago was in college and now I'm singing a solo on Broadway.
Let's go!
This is a Broadway show, and we're back in just a few. It takes a whole lot of people to keep a Broadway show running, from the actors on stage to the orchestra, and of course the people behind the scene, whose names you don't see in the playbill. Our man Perry is on the town.
Thanks, Tamsin. It's production electricians that keep the lights on here on Broadway. I'm backstage of the New Amsterdam Theater talking to the crew who keep Aladdin shining, shimmering, and splendid. All right, guys, I am here with Jimmy Maloney, the production electrician here on Aladdin. Jimmy, thanks for joining us today.
It's my pleasure.
So I gotta ask, where did you decide that this is something you wanted to do?
Well, this is something originally I didn't want to do. My father was in the business, my grandfather was in the business, but I was looking more into electrical contracting. It's what I wanted to do. But as time went on, I fell in love with the business. And that's how you get here. You really fall in love with the business. And my family's been in the business for over 115 years.
So what all is in your realm here at Aladdin? What goes into a day of work for that, especially in a show like this where you've got lights shimmering everywhere?
Right. Well, it's a long process on a daily basis. It really is. The show is the 2.5 hours long, but we start an hour before that just to make sure that every instrument works. I have a team of people that are terrific. That's what makes my life so much easier.
That helps.
But I can show you what we're doing out here on stage if you'd like to step out here and show you what we're doing today for maintenance for the show.
Now, Jimmy, you talked about the importance of your team here for this massive project that is Aladdin. Who are we talking with now?
Yeah, this is Andy Catron. He's my moving light tech for the show.
So moving lights, we're not just, putting lights up and turning them on. These are fully operational. What's going on here?
Well, they're fully computerized lights. What we're doing right now is cleaning the color modules and the gobo modules. Gobos are the patterns that you see coming from the light onto the floor of the stage. And so they get really dirty sometimes, especially with the amount of pyro that we have in the show.
All right, Jimmy, we've made the journey over to stage left. I'm too excited. This has got to be our pyro guy.
Yes, this is Kevin Strohmeyer, our pyrotechnician.
Hi, very nice to meet you.
So you want to blow stuff up, huh?
Yeah, I might be a bit of a
right.
pyromaniac if I had to admit. All right, so safety first. So we've got these goggles
Safety
here.
first, yeah. You wear these when you load.
Now, what's the reason? Does something ever go wrong in the loading process?
Nothing's ever gone wrong, but you never know.
When you say comet, it looks
yeah,
like
exactly.
a comet.
It looks like a comet shooting across the sky. We load them up in these little tubes.
Mm-hmm.
Stick the tube in. So what happens is this goes to a module. The module talks to the console. So when I go over and play with the console, the module tells me what's loaded and what's not, and then we can shoot off what we have.
Oh, that's amazing. How many of those comets are you shooting on the show?
Well, there are 10 in the show. There's a total of 40 pieces of pyro in the show.
Wow.
Yeah, all different kinds. Stuff comes up out of the deck, overhead. There's all kinds of stuff going up over the genie's head. And it's pretty fun, yeah.
So I think it's amazing. You know, you're such a part of the show, from sound to lights to pyro to everything. But I got to ask you, what does Broadway mean to you?
Well, Broadway means the world to me. It's really wonderful to be working on Broadway, but it's been nice. I've worked all over the world. I've been fortunate I've done Lion Kings in other countries, so it's taken me around and I've met so many wonderful people in this industry. It's been just really wonderful to work.
Welcome back to The Broadway Show. I'm Tamsin Fidel. Let's get back to it. Hello, gorgeous. Funny Girl is now on tour across North America. Let's send it out to Paul Wontorek.
Thanks, Tamsin. Funny Girl may be done wowing audiences on Broadway, but the national tour is coming to a city near you. I sat down with stars Katarina McCrimmon, Melissa Manchester, and more in rehearsal before they hit the road. Fanny Brice, Funny Girl.
That's right.
This is a big role for a
biggest.
musical theater actress, an up-and-coming musical theater actress. How are you feeling?
I'm pinching myself every day, is how I'm feeling.
Obviously, the Broadway run ended and it, turned into a big hit. People are really excited to see who the new Fanny is. There are a lot of ways to connect with the role. There's a lot of ways in to sort of find your path. Why do you think you're the right person to be telling Fanny's story?
Fanny and I have a lot in common. I think as a human being, I very much cover with comedy. And I try my best to be vulnerable. And I think that's what's so beautiful about Fanny's story is that Fanny, her whole life has been comic. And then finally she realizes, oh, I can let other people in. I can be vulnerable. So I've been very much living parallel lives with Fanny Brice, yeah.
So are you a pip with pizzazz, all ginger and jazz? Are these things that would describe you, a big clump of talent?
I mean, you gotta see the show to find out.
Hey, Mr. Ornstein, here I am.
Why do you think this show has connected with people today? Was it just sort of like the perfect back to Broadway kind of classic moment for people? Or what about the story or the music is just really connecting?
I think everybody knows and loves Funny Girl, whether or not they know it already.
Sure.
But I think that there is something so essential about it that, it sort of has the DNA of the Broadway musical in it. Right, it is a story about Broadway, it is a story about show business, it has this spectacular score, it has tap dancing, and I think if you are a Broadway fan, I think you leave at the end of the evening feeling really fulfilled and feeling really overjoyed that you got to see sort of the best of what makes us Broadway in one evening.
Melissa Manchester, back in a musical, I love this.
Me too.
You've written musicals, you've starred in musicals. I mean, I feel like musical theater is really special to you.
It is my addiction. There are not enough steps to break me of that particular one. Yes, I'm thrilled to be celebrating the 50th year of my career doing this spectacular musical.
That's 50 years of
It is.
In the entertainment world.
Yes.
Why right now do you want to hit the road in this gorgeous musical comedy and bring this story to people?
Yeah, well, I grew up with this musical. I mean, I was raised in the Bronx and the Upper West Side. I saw the original production with You Know Who. The women that I grew up with sound like Rose Brice, so I'm channeling everybody I've ever met. And I am hoping that the great secret that just sort of floods the United States is the discovery of our Fanny, because she's really something.
Your turn at bat, sir. At least I didn't fake it, hat, sir. I guess I didn't make it. Get ready for me, love, cause I'm a comer. I simply gotta march, my heart's a drummer.
Why do you think this show has connected with audiences again? Why do you think audiences have been loving it on Broadway and will love it on the road?
I think it's really charming. I mean, we don't get to see musicals like this anymore with an overture, with a proper book. I mean, it's a time capsule in the best way. It's really lovely and hilarious. It's the whole gamut. You're laughing and then you're crying and you leave the theater like, how do I change my marriage? You know, it's a story about a lot of things, being a mother, being a person, being a performer, trusting in yourself. So I think it has a lot of themes that humanity can relate to.
And that's going to do it for us. Until next time, I'm Tamsin Fidel, and this is The Broadway Show.